Hello, everyone. Good evening. Welcome to our August 26, 2025 Board of Education meeting. I'd like to call our meeting to order. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Just a reminder for our community, as part of our ongoing commitment to inclusive community engagement, those joining virtually can now email questions and comments to swrboemeeting@k12.newyork.us for inclusion during our second comment period tonight. Any residents wishing to make comments or raise questions shall sign up with our district clerk and state their name, address, and the topic. Public discussion is prohibited on matters relating to staff and students at which their reputation, privacy, or rights to due process, or the rights of others to due process could be in some way violated. All comments should be directed to the board president. The board president may choose to respond to these comments or refer them to the superintendent or other board members for reply and for consideration for later response. All comments should always be respectful, non-defamatory, and should maintain a level of decorum appropriate for a meeting of a public body. Thank you. First up tonight is our approval of our agenda. May I get a motion, please? Henry, second. Jim S. Any discussion or questions? All in favor? 7-0. Next up is our superintendent's report. Mr. Poole.
Well, welcome, everybody. Thank you, Mr. President. Welcome to the 25-26 school year, all right? Yay! It's going to be great to have our staff and students back. It promises to be a great year, and I look forward to welcoming our staff back for Superintendent's Conference Day on September 2nd and students on September 3rd. So great to start a fresh year with bright faces and a lot of energy. So looking forward to next week for sure. Yep. I'd like to take a moment to formally welcome Miss Deborah Ferry, who's began here on August 13th. Yeah, you can stand up for a second. Yeah. Miss Deborah Ferry, who was our new Director of Health, Physical Education, and Athletics. Ms. Ferry joins us with an incredible wealth of experience from her most recent position as Director of Athletics at Half Hollow Hills Central School District. At Half Hollow Hills since 2016, Ms. Ferry was leading athletic programs across 4 schools with over 125 teams. She's developed and mentored more than 190 coaches while bringing innovative new programs to students, including unified sports, boys and girls bowling, and flag football. Before that, from 2007 to 2016, Ms. Ferry served as Director of Health, Physical Education, Nursing, and Athletics in the Port Jefferson School District. Ms. Ferry holds and has held numerous roles in NYSVA and Section 11 leadership, holds important roles, Vice President today in NYSVA. So I am, Ms. Ferry is off to a fantastic start in the school district. I'm excited to welcome aboard and see what she brings to our student athletes, our staff, and our community in the areas of athletics, physical education, and health. So welcome, Ms. Ferry. I do want to give a brief update on the high school fire. First, let me give a big thank you to our local fire departments for their rapid response and support to the high school. Probably about 10 days ago now. Their efforts really kept the damage, I'm going to call it to the minimum, but there definitely was a damage as a result of the response to the fire, water damage to the gym floor. That is the major renovation for the high school gym. All other areas of the high school are open or will be open for the start of the school year, but the high school gym floor, having been soaked, does need replacement. That work is underway, did require some abatement at the high school, and the floor is already up, and so as a result, volleyball is at the middle school this year, and physical education, we have plenty of locations at the high school, but physical education will be in the wrestling center. They will be outside. They'll use the fitness center at the high school. The cheerleading team will be able to practice at the middle school as usual. We have ordered a second set of mats that will allow the high school team to have their own space at Miller Avenue School this year. I don't have a single date for when the work in the high school gym would be completed. Okay. As soon as I have that date, I will share that publicly. We are going to be pushing for that to be replaced and finished as soon as possible. Unfortunately, it was not a possibility to partially replace the floor at this time. It was a full job. So I'll keep everybody posted along the way, and if anybody has any questions, please reach out to my office. Just want to give a little update on summer activities. There's been a lot of activity in the district as we prepare for the school year. Summer programs such as Rise Theater, Summer AIS, AI Prep Week, which is this week, early kindergarten, round out, to name a few, were great successes. Thank you to all of our staff that led and worked in support of our students over the summer months. Capital and maintenance work has been ongoing, including HVAC renovations, camera repairs, replacements, technology projects. Our maintenance team replaced much of the high school ceiling in the hallway here, the tiles. It looks beautiful, and thank them for their work, not just for that, but across the district, to our grounds maintenance and custodial team for getting ready for the start of the school year, including all of our office staff and clerical who close out the last school year and then get ready behind the scenes to make things ready for staff and students for the start of the school year. So thank you to them as well. I do want to give a few reminders to everyone as we start the school year. This year, seatbelts are required for all K through 8 students when they ride a bus to school, athletic contests, and field trips. All students K-12, that means high school students, must wear seatbelts for field trips. Just a reminder of the new cell phone law in New York State and our plans to implement that. Students in grades K through 6 are not allowed to bring internet-enabled devices to school. That includes a cell phone. Students in grades 6 through 12 may bring an internet-enabled device to school. However, they must be stored and silent in their lockers during the school day. We are very close to having the phone project completed for additional phones for high school students in the cafeteria and in the library. And we are still working on an email solution for students. So we're working on it, but it's just that the plans aren't complete yet. We have made some much-needed headway on filling food service positions. However, if you are looking for employment in a wonderful workplace environment with great benefits, please reach out to the district. We do continue to have food service openings in the school district. Just this week, we've had administrative meetings in preparation for the school year. Kindergarten orientation is this week on Thursday. Always fun to attend that. We have our new teacher orientation for probationary staff and leave positions. And just yesterday, along with the board president and vice president, we had our orientation meeting for our new ex officio student trustees. We have 6, and each meeting there'll be 3 of them attending. At least that is the plan right now. On tonight's agenda, there is an approval of an updated shared decision-making plan. That was one of our larger goals for last year. I'm happy that we got that off the ground, up and running. That's really due to the leadership of the principals and the staff in their buildings and the parents that participated. Last year, we started the process, and part of the shared decision-making is there's building-level teams and there's a district-wide team. The district-wide team spent the year looking at the old document and then revitalizing it. So tonight on the agenda is the board's approval of the redesigned, revised district-wide shared decision-making plan. And I look forward to, last year was a learning year, I look forward to growth on those committees as we move forward. Tonight as well is an update on the National School Lunch Program and New York State Universal Free Meal Program update from Mr. Arcuri and Ms. Polino, who is here today. Thank you for both of them for all of their efforts. What a huge lift. Parents did receive a detailed update yesterday on the school meal program for the upcoming school year. Mr. Meinster is going to give an update on the Portrait of a Graduate implementation. I know last fall the board spoke to Mr. Meinster about how are we going to implement this, and he worked with the committee across the school year, and he has a great plan for freshmen coming into the building this year. Also tonight is the adoption of the district-wide safety plans and building plans. There were some slight changes to the district-wide safety plan over the summer related to changes in the law, DSHA's law in particular, which Mr. Rossini will share with the board and the public. You're also adopting the building-wide plans, which are confidential, and there are a couple of new functional annexes in those as well. I want to thank Mr. Rossini and our administrative team for their work on these important plans. And I want to end with one more thank you, a big thank you to Ms. Nitty and my assistant, Ms. Apatowski. Their work last year to renovate, roll over, curate, change, prod, pull us all along across the school year for, do you really need to have this on the webpage? The webpage is for
Oh, yeah,
parents.
webpage is great.
The webpage is not for you to, it's not a file holder, a file saving folder for administration. It's not a place to save history. It's really an active working place for parents. And the work that they did, the care, the banners, the font, making it handicap accessible, really thinking and pushing, right? I see Mr. Pugliese nodding his head. They just did a tremendous, I am so proud of them. The webpage came out great, so thank you to both of them. I tried to get Janice here tonight. Didn't work.
Janice didn't, yeah, she didn't want to take it. She
didn't-
doesn't like the public.
It did not work. So Janice, if you're watching, many thanks to you as well. And I have to give a shout out. If you notice on the landing page, we'll be able to change that landing page photo. But the landing page is of the high school pond. It's sort of a fall. It's beautiful, right? I got to give a shout out to Mr. Loesch, one of our security guards who works in the booth in the morning. We were talking one day, and he so kindly caught the sunrise. Just a beautiful clip. So thank you, Mr. Loesch. But we'll be updating the landing page with different photos and videos. So I'm excited about the webpage. Hopefully, it's an updated asset for families to use to find information quickly and contact us easily. So, and that concludes my lengthy report. Thank you. Thank you.
A lengthy but good report. Thank you, Mr. Poole. I did want to echo Mr. Poole's sentiments and thank you to our Wading River Fire Department, to Mr. Mark Donnelly, who is the chief there, to our Rocky Point Fire Department and the numerous other departments that responded to the school, as well as our school staff and others that are involved in the cleanup and the restoration of our gym. Obviously, that's not the way we want to start our school year off. Ms. Ferry, sorry you have to begin with a high school gym with that situation. I'm sure that wasn't a great welcome gift, but I know you'll handle it, right? But ultimately, we obviously look forward to the renovations and restoring the gym back to its better state, I'll call it at this point, Jerry. And additionally, I just wanted to open it up for the board if anyone has any other opportunity for board member comments.
Yeah, I mean, real quick on a positive note from an athletic standpoint, just want to congratulate the Shoreham-Wading River boys varsity soccer team and new coach, Donnie Braga. Team capped off an incredible summer league run, finishing 13-0, bringing a championship to the district for the summer league with 8 shutouts, so very impressive. They defeated the county finalists runner-up, Kings Park, 3-0 in the championship game. Whereas if you pay attention to varsity sports, I think we lost 6-0 to them in the playoffs last year. So we're really excited about this upcoming season, the opportunity the boys have on our run to states, and hope you come out and support.
Thank you, thanks. Congratulations to the team.
Yeah.
Basketball. I'm not a basketball player. You mentioned it.
Any other board comments, discussion? No? Okay, very good. Any statements from residents, Ms. Karshis? Okay, thank you. I'm going to jump down to reports and reviews. First up tonight will be our food service update with Mr. Glenn Arcuri, with Ms. Sarah Polino and Ms. Christine Kravchenko. Sorry, Christine. I don't know if Christine's here, but thank you. So go ahead, yep. Did you bring samples? That's what we want to know. The sample food tonight, that's what we want to know.
Did we bring samples? When have they ever brought samples for us?
We're going to work on
Next
that.
time.
Next time.
Next time, there we go. That was a PTO, we have to be, okay.
PTO gets samples. We don't.
I see how this works.
Well, Ms. Polino and I thank you for the opportunity tonight
Yep.
to provide you a status
Yep.
on the National School Lunch Program. We had presented last on June 26th.
Right.
We have completed the application process. We have been accepted as a school district.
Yep.
And it is, again, important to point out, the district was required to join the National School Lunch Program in order to participate in Governor Hochul's New York State Universal Free Meals.
Mm-hmm.
So as part of the National School Lunch Program, for your first year, you are considered a Provision 2 school. I'm going to get into the weeds quickly, and I'm going to get into the weeds out of it quickly, too. As a Provision 2 school, the first year, it is critical that any family that feels they're eligible to be a free and reduced family complete an application in order for our base year, which is our first year, which is going to define for the district our reimbursement ratio. After the first year, for the next 3 consecutive years thereafter, the district's first-year base rate sticks.
Got it.
So why is that important? The district is going to be reimbursed on the federal side for the free and reduced number of meals. Currently, there is about 193 families, and the remaining students that end up taking a meal will be reimbursed at the state reimbursement level. Again, it's important as a base year to have our free and reduced count as high as it possibly can be, meaning I'm not asking people to fill out the paperwork incorrectly. I'm just asking, if you're unsure, complete the free and reduced application for us.
Understand. May I ask a
sure.
follow-up to that, Glenn?
Sure.
So how are we getting the word out to families? I know Parent Square, right, obviously.
We have sent home numerous letters. Each
Okay.
building principal has sent it home in their back to school packets.
Yep.
It is sent out inside of a Parent Square message. It is in their electronic backpack. So it's a traditional process. We have definitely seen an increase in applications, but we've also heard, my office has received a number of phone calls, why are you asking me to fill out an application when it's free school meals?
Understand.
Why are you bothering us? Why? The district has no base rate because we've never been in the National School Lunch Program, and we are considered a Phase 2 school,
Understand. So
a Provision 2 school.
for anyone listening, our reimbursement rate is based on the number of people who potentially could apply and be a participant in the free or reduced meal program. That's what you're saying, Glenn?
Correct.
Okay. So we're encouraging parents to, on behalf of their students, to complete these. Is there a certain date that you need this by, or just in general?
In general, by October 1st would be
Okay.
ideal for us.
Okay.
But
Thank you,
if a
Glenn.
family's income changes at any point through the year, they can fill out an application and we can accept it at any point throughout the year.
Understand. Thank you. Thank you.
Okay.
Yep, appreciate that, Glenn.
All of our meals for this school year are going to be prepared in accordance with the National School Lunch Program's meal pattern requirement. Again, that is an important piece to understand, that the Universal Free Meals Program follows the criteria of the National School Lunch Program meal pattern requirement. So as we are preparing our menus, as we are preparing our meals, we are continuing as a first-year National School Lunch Program district. Of course, everything we're doing is in the spotlight. Everything, we are definitely going to be audited. Year one, you're always audited.
Sure.
They're going to look at everything. So we are dotting our I's 3 times, we're crossing our T's 3 times to make certain that they see we are cognizant that we're not going to be in the National School Lunch Program, but still deliver our original program, which exceeded a lot of the National School Lunch meal pattern requirements. So as we continue along the process, we will continue to increase menu options, refine menu preparation, but to start, we are really matching the letter of the law, so there is not a problem. Every 30 days, we are required to fill in a reimbursement report where our menus go along with that, where our outreach go along with that as a provision to school. So it might seem like we're doing a lot of outreach that is over the top, but it's just your year one. You're just being under the magnifying glass. So we are continuing to really try to do the right thing.
Understand.
The school cafeterias are required to provide a complete meal to any student that wants a complete meal. A complete meal, at the minimum, consists of 3 components, but it starts with 5. The students could only choose 3. If they wanted 2 vegetables or 2 fruit cups, it could even go up to 7. It all depends what the student wants.
Okay.
But if the student, let's say it's a cheeseburger, if they only want the cheeseburger and they don't want anything else, that comes with it. The milk, the fruit, the vegetable, that does not meet a reimbursable meal under the National School Lunch Program. So the food service staff is going to be a little pushy in getting students to take a complete meal, because if we don't get them to take a complete meal, we are unable to file a claim for reimbursement for that meal. So it is important to note, your student, your child might actually come home and say, I'm taking stuff that I'm not eating.
What, can you explain the process?
Sure.
How that works? If I have a 3rd grader, right? I mean, when my kids were younger, I was pretty much giving them food to eat. I wasn't like, they didn't have options, you know? So if a 3rd grader comes to the cafeteria line, are we asking them, do you want a vegetable? Do you want a fruit? Or are you saying, pick a fruit, pick a vegetable? Like, just, I feel like the way you can present it
Yeah, to encourage
is a
you.
different way of,
Yeah.
you know, them receiving it. Instead of giving them the option and maybe asking them the question where maybe they're not apt to as a 3rd grader.
Yeah, so basically, I mean, we ask them, we give them options every day, and we ask them what they would like. If they get to the end of the line and they only have a cheeseburger, my staff is basically going to say to them, oh, don't forget your juice, that counts as a fruit. Would you like to take an apple with that? We have bananas today, would you like a banana? You know, we're going to suggest it, and if they don't take it, then we would unfortunately have to charge them for just a cheeseburger at an à la carte cost.
And then that parent then pays
For
For
that
just a
burger.
cheeseburger.
Yep.
if there is money on their NutriKids account, they will be charged for that hamburger.
Yeah, so if I'm a parent that's getting charged, right?
Yep.
I'm gonna say, well, make sure my kid takes all the items.
Right,
That's
So-
the
right.
push.
So that's where my staff will say, hey, don't forget your juice, would you like an apple with that? And, you know,
That's helpful to know.
right.
It is an important piece, because we still get, in previous years, a complete meal is $5.50, but when they just want to buy the main for that meal, they're paying $4.25. Yes, because it's an additional item. So it is important, now that it's free meals for all, that everyone takes a complete meal.
Understood.
Yeah, I could just see how next month, 2 months from now, we're having a presentation or we're getting an update, and maybe the numbers are skewed a little bit as to maybe why the program is unsuccessful, because kids aren't getting full meals. When I hope that's something we can avoid
Right.
by helping them
Right,
get the free meals.
we will be helping them.
Okay.
Are parents going to figure this out at the end of the month when they get a bill, or when they see that they're in the negative, or?
Well, it could happen 2 ways. Some parents who think it's free meals won't put any money on their child's account. And in years past, we allowed your account to go negative because if you didn't have lunch, we always wanted to feed you. However, if you were purchasing an à la carte item, you were not able to go into the negative. Well, this year we turned the ability of going into the negative off
No more negative balance.
district-wide, because everyone is entitled to a complete meal free. So little Johnny's not gonna have their chance to buy an à la carte item and drive their account negative. So when are parents going to find out? When either they come home and say, they would not let me just buy the hamburger, they told me I needed to take a complete meal and I'm throwing items out, or they have money on account and they go to do an accounting and see their $50 for cookies is now down to $5, how come?
And
Yeah,
then
I
just charge
feel
for
like that's
cheeseburger.
going to be a surprise to a lot of families, and I think they were asking elementary schools to be in charge of pretty complex.
Well, just the 3-5 kids. The K2 kids are handled. The K-2 program is still a pre-order program. We are not giving, the only choice they have is white milk or chocolate milk. That is their option, or a juice, right?
No.
No.
White
So
or
it's
chocolate.
white or chocolate milk. Other than that is a complete meal kit, and that's what everyone in the building is getting. So you won't see it at the K-2 level, but at the 3-5 level, we have thought about going to complete meals. However, the National School Lunch Program requires choice.
I just think that there's a specificity there that is gonna be really easy for families.
When you say, yeah, I'm sorry.
I'm gonna share with
I-
that.
So,
So,
yeah, when you say choice, can it be,
I'm gonna share with you right
you
now.
want
So,
the broccoli or you want the green beans? They get one or the other.
So it
Right.
can, yep, they can choose from whatever vegetables of the day we have, whatever fruit. So in the meal pattern, there's 5 different components.
Right.
One of the components that they take has to be a fruit or a vegetable. So that could be the juice, it could be the apple, it could be the banana, it could be the green beans, it could be the broccoli, it could be the carrots, it could be the cucumbers, it could be the pickles.
So
It could be
that
any
their
of those,
choice.
of
And
their
then-
choice.
And then we are still giving them one of those choices.
Mhm.
I just think that families or building principals are gonna get a lot of calls.
Yeah. The choice shouldn't be 0.
Right.
Right,
The families are gonna be surprised when they get,
Right.
well, the child is able to choose of any of that variety, and they won't be charged for that.
I think we just need to avoid the choice of not accepting anything, right?
Right.
Like when you fill out Google form and there's no option for,
So can we
Zero.
Oh, no, I agree with you.
yeah, yeah.
It's just, we don't want the children crying, saying, I don't want that. So it's hard for my staff to hold up the line for them to try to force someone, which we're hoping won't be the case.
Right.
But it's just, we just have to
Yeah.
have the conversation to say, parents need to understand that we're now going to be lightly enforcing the fact that we want them to take all of the components so that parents are not charged.
So, when it comes to allergies, cross-contamination, is anything changing as far as prep, how we're treating that, especially with gluten allergies, really enforcing like a whole grain?
Food safety is first and foremost.
Okay. And so how does that work for those children that may have allergies, where there's not a complete meal that would satisfy the requirement for reimbursement?
It's basically going to work the same way as it did in the past. Parents will contact the nurse will contact us, or the parents will directly contact us, and we'll make the meals separate than, the meals that are made in the kitchen. We just have to, we're not going to have the variety that we used to. I mean, at the high school level specifically. The elementary schools, obviously, if you looked at the menus, everything doesn't say gluten-free because it's not possible for us to make every single lunch gluten-free, but we will have 2 to 3 specific gluten-free options available daily. We
Okay.
just have to,
But is that something, and just for clarity, I'm being a little biased because I have a gluten-free child. Last year, we ran into an issue where, like, it said gluten-free hamburger, but they were already pre-prepped on a roll, so that wasn't gluten-free. And, I obviously brought this up to Glenn, so I want to make sure, like, it's something that we need to do ahead of time in addressing with the nurse, and then they would inform the cafeteria and the staff? Or is it something that on a daily basis, we should be confident knowing when they go to school, that there's something there?
I think with specific schools, there may only be 1 or 2 students that are specifically gluten-free. So if we don't have a child that's gluten-free, we're not automatically making that lunch. So if we know ahead of time that day, or even the week ahead, or let's say Monday, if you know you want a gluten-free lunch for Monday through Friday, we will definitely have that lunch prepared every day of that week.
Yeah, and I mean, not to beat that, that's because, like, this is, everybody's entitled to lunch, right, under this new program.
Absolutely.
So there should
Yep.
be an option for them. So that's why I'm saying, do we need to call ahead, or they should be prepping that, knowing there's students in the building that require that?
Well, if it's something that's menued that we would have daily, then we would absolutely have that. Like a gluten-free bagel, we have that every single day because it's something that's prepackaged, it's in a separate refrigerator. But if it's a hot lunch, then it would be better for us to know that day or ahead of time so that we can prepare it. We don't have a ton of gluten-free students in every building. That's the only reason why I'm saying that. So it would be, especially at the middle school level or the high school level, it's easier to know so that we can make sure that that's being prepared in a separate space.
So again, one more time, the process would be, let's say I have a child with celiac, I should contact my nurse in the school first?
The nurse has to be made aware so that
Okay.
we're aware and we have it in our system,
Got
and
it.
then contact us at the building level.
When you say us at the building level, who would they call, I guess, as a parent?
The cafeteria.
The cafeteria.
Yep.
So there's a phone number directly to the cafeteria. They should call that number that same morning? preferably, or should we give you like a week's notice? Like, what do you prefer? I'm asking because I wanted to know what you prefer.
Right. It could either be that morning, or it could be like Monday, and you can say, you know, I'd like lunches every day this week, or,
Okay.
or, you know, in your child's case, my child's gonna eat every day, so can you please just have the hot lunch prepared every day, and then we would make sure that we would have that.
Let me just put a quick qualifier down. Sarah just said the hot lunch. It is important to note there's a gluten-free option available every day without any call ahead.
For the
without any
gluten-free.
call ahead orders.
Yeah, but you're just talking about a bagel. That's not really lunch.
No,
I'm sorry, or like a turkey sandwich. We always have gluten-free bread available every day. We have rolls, we have hamburger buns, we have,
That's
the
great.
bagels.
All right,
Those are
that's good.
available every day. We have salads every day, we have yogurt. It's just the hot lunch that we don't prepare for every single student every day, because not every building requires it.
So this has been such a drastic switch, and I appreciate everything that you've done to do
Thank
that, and I know there's a little bit of spirit loss. Mr. Curie, the only thing I'm gonna ask, if you think possibly, I think that parents really get caught up with that detail. When you're looking at grades 3, 4, and 5, I think that they're gonna look at the overarching lunch is free, and there's gonna be a big miss, and then they're gonna find out a month later, so.
we could, as I was up to the point of, schools must offer 5 components daily. They must offer a vegetable, a grain, a meat or a meat alternate, milk, fruit. We could easily choose, as a district, right now, today, you want a prepackaged meal for grades 3 through 5 with all 5 components, knowing full well, though, a student is only required to take 3. As an effort to prevent food waste, we have opted to try to go down the path of choice. However, we could simplify it, which would simplify the entire Wading River process, and just make a meal kit with 5 items in it.
Yeah, I was just looking for a different solution that will avoid the miscommunications. Families are sometimes, they're thinking of the bigger idea, so it's free lunch, I think they're gonna miss it.
When I bring choice, I bring confusion.
You bring complexity.
When I bring
Yeah.
I would love to just make a prepackaged meal of 5
But
items.
to Mr. Lewis's point, I kind of like that idea, where you're saying you have the option of carrots or green beans, pick one, right, so.
You're 100% correct,
So
and
can
they
we
both
do
say
that?
none.
Well,
Let-
and even
And
to
they say,
speak
no,
to that.
no, thank you.
I have to, now, because of the guidelines, I have to menu beans. I don't have students that love beans.
Right.
So with the hamburger, I put vegetarian beans on the menu, but I can offer pickles. Every third grader loves pickles. So I can, you know, I can prepare 10 portions of beans, and I can put out 300 portions of pickles. They're all gonna take the pickles, and now the meal's compliant, but I'm not wasting all the beans. But they're still gonna be compliant because they're taking the pickles. It's still considered a vegetable. But I have to serve the beans.
And I'm guessing we'll be able to track this, and months leading, we'll have better data
100%
to
correct.
understand. So this
We're
first
gonna
month,
do our best.
And that goes back to the subgroups. So the, you know, the state is saying, the federal government is saying, there are certain subgroups that you have to serve. So I have to serve beans, I have to serve red vegetables, I have to serve green vegetables. There are certain things that I have to serve weekly. So finding things that they would like, chickpeas, you know, Miller Avenue is getting chickpeas every Thursday. They're not going to eat them, but I have to serve them. So for, you know, for Wading River, it's kind of nice to
I like
show them the
hummus.
bean. They may not like it well.
I mean, and just for clarity, there's no in the negative, so if they try to go à la carte, they don't get it.
No.
So there's no bill,
No.
there's no surprise bill.
If there is no money, if the parents or guardians
Don't put money in the
did
account.
not put any
Not getting
money
it.
on the student's NutriKids account,
Yeah,
they're walking away from the counter with a complete meal of some substance with it.
oh, so they are getting, all right.
They're always
yeah.
getting a free
So
meal.
how is that
But they're
accounted?
taking possibly the vegetarian beans, they're taking items
There's a
that
concern of
they
waste.
don't want.
Okay, but they're not getting a bill, I think that was your
Right.
concern,
In
Megan. They're not
Miller
getting,
Avenue.
they're not getting a bill.
Wading River, I'm saying
Oh,
that
they are.
No, I'm saying if there's no money on the,
The account.
on the student's NutriKids account, it can't go into the negative
Negative.
for a complete lunch.
Okay,
So but if there's money on their account to purchase a la carte items, that's when the scenario comes.
so we'll only do one shocker for families. Okay, okay.
That's what I'm hoping.
Well, I'm
No,
hoping we can be more creative
I think.
at the line, that we can encourage kids to take either or. And maybe, you know, I'm sure we'll learn as we go.
I just don't want families to be incredibly surprised.
I'm pretty confident families are going to catch on quickly. Hopeful, confident.
We went pretty long.
A la carte items? Well, when you put
No money on the
$150 on a
bucks.
student's account,
There's no surprise.
it happens. A la carte items are still going to be available for purchase?
And like we said, I think there'll be a little bit of a learning curve, but I think adapting to this program, I think that's in our district and our students and our families' best interests. So we'll look forward to hearing from you all on what's working, what's not, and we'll look forward to those updates, really. And anything you learn quickly, please share. I think communication is going to be the best way to
Definitely.
help.
And just for the parents at home, again, do you want to reiterate
Yeah.
where all the information's available, like our website?
Can I give 3 more bullets?
Oh.
I know I'm getting exited stage left, I feel it.
Great,
I feel it, and I
great.
get it. I'm going to give
You're
it 3
getting
more
off the
quick
line
bullets.
with your 5 items.
I'm going to give 3 more quick, three
Make
more,
me throw my
3 more
vegetarian
quick
beans
bullets.
at you.
The National School Lunch Program standards only pertain to during school hours. So a non-school hour event does not have to be a compliant item.
Okay,
However, during school day, if there's fundraisers, we should be compliant with the National School Lunch Program guidelines.
I think I know where you're going.
It is
Okay.
an important,
So if a club
component.
is selling donuts in the school building, is that what you're saying, they're still okay?
probably going to stop.
Okay.
Probably
Oh,
gonna
probably gonna
stop.
stop.
Probably
Okay.
going to stop
So what was the
during school
complaint?
hours.
During school hours, so it'd have to be after school hours.
Yes.
Okay, that's helpful.
Ice
Um,
pops are out.
Do what?
Your ice pops are out.
I don't know. Are ice pops?
Unless if they meet
If
the,
they're 100% fruit juice,
Okay,
they're fine.
they just can't compete with the National School Lunch Program, so it has to be before lunch or after lunch.
So I know the senior, junior class sells bagels. Is that done?
We're in conversations with the building principal to work out those particular details.
okay.
And the last item, snacks. We are still selling snacks. They are all compliant with the
With the
Smart
program?
Snacks initiative
Okay,
outlined by the National School Lunch
Okay.
Program. So it's different items. They will adjust. Kids
Consider.
are,
we're all about trials here. We'll try some
Correct.
for you if you want us to give you feedback.
We're going to start slow. We'll
Sounds good,
We'll
see
get
what it
there.
takes.
get there.
Okay,
any other questions for us?
Thank you.
Thank you,
Good
appreciate
luck,
it.
thank you.
thank you, Ms. Paulino, thank you so much.
you.
You and your team, appreciate that very much. Glenn, thank you. Is there a question? You have a question?
Yeah, I was just
Glenn?
saying, I'm looking at the website, so the menus are on the website at
They
this
are.
point?
The menus are listed under our website.
See.
Good?
We sent the link to families yesterday in a detailed memo about what is important factors related to school lunch and a link to the menus.
On the district website.
Okay, got it,
There is a food service tab
got it.
where all the information can be found.
And Mr. Arcuri, you were talking about a Nutrilink, is that the same as My School Bucks?
NutriKids is, yes,
Okay,
my school.
thanks.
Okay, thanks, Mr. Curie. Next up under reports and reviews, we have a profile of a graduate digital student portfolios. Mr. Meinster, welcome.
Thank you. Good evening, everybody. Very excited to share with everybody the work that we've been doing here. But before I do that, this was definitely not my work. This was a work of a much larger group, which consisted of members of our community and was also spearheaded by and supported by a couple of our administrators who are here with me tonight. So I'm going to introduce Mr. Pugliese and Ms. Nitty to come up here and join me, because the three of us are going to go through different parts of this based on the work that we have been doing in coming to take our Portrait of a Graduate and combine that into what are going to be now student digital portfolios this year. So, there you go. Okay, so just in terms of a recap of the work that's taken place to bring us to where we are today, this work has been ongoing actually for several years, but certainly in the last 2 years, a lot of very focused work has taken place, developing a Shoreham-Wading River Portrait of a Graduate and the characteristics that we believe as a district represent that which we want our students to come away with when they graduate and are ready to go out into the world, whether it's college or the workforce, or just being members of society. That work was undertaken by a diverse group of, as I had mentioned before, stakeholders. We had students that were involved in this work, teachers, administrators, parents, and community members, all of which worked together to identify what wound up being 8 different traits that would characterize what we feel our graduates should possess, and those are adaptability, civic-mindedness, critical thinking, effective communication, empathy, a growth mindset, resilience, and responsibility. From that, the next piece of the work that we discussed was how do we best allow students to demonstrate how they have attained those different characteristics over the course of their time here in Shoreham-Wading River. And that led us to what we feel is the best method, especially for this day and age, where our students are so digitally proficient, and that is the development of a student digital portfolio where they would be able to house information and artifacts that represent their journey and their learning and how that learning has translated into their accomplishment of these traits. So a structure was developed through subcommittee work of our district's Curriculum Development Committee. That subcommittee met throughout the course of this past school year and took those Portrait of a Graduate characteristics and developed a set of components, processes, and considerations that would be developed to support the implementation of that system with our students, with that work set to commence for our incoming 9th grade class this school year. The facets associated with that student digital portfolio included a template that Ms. Nidhi is going to walk everybody here through in just a minute for where the students would do that work, for organizing, embedding their portfolio content, a rubric for students to be able to self-evaluate their progress with the development of their rubric. The digital portfolios would be developed over the course of 4 years. So at periods throughout that entire period, students would be asked to self-reflect using a rubric that I'm going to show you the template for that as well, and work with their home-based advisors to ensure that they are moving that process forward on track to have it completed when they get to their senior year. And then along with that would be a rubric for evaluating the completed portfolio at some point in their senior year. And finally, documented procedures, processes for monitoring their progress with, supporting the development of, and offering feedback for each student's individual portfolio. Mr. Pugliese is going to walk us through all of that just a little bit. So starting that out, the first thing here is Ms. Nidhi is going to kind of walk us through. She was instrumental in pulling together the template that you see here. Basically, she put it together using the information from what the committee put together to create this format. And I will turn it over.
So the goal was really to create something that's structured enough to guide students, but also flexible enough to really honor students' individuality. So we considered multiple platforms, but we ended up landing on Canva because it's compliant with data privacy laws, and it already integrates well with our existing district systems and minimizes the learning curve for both staff and students. And we also felt that it supports both design flexibility and ease of use. So in here is this is the template. It was really designed with a less is more philosophy. It provides a simple framework where students can organize artifacts aligned with the 8 traits. So, can you just scroll? Thank you. So each of the 8 traits are listed along with our definition of that trait. And we kept it minimalistic to give space for students to be able to add projects, reflections, awards, creative pieces that really matter to them. And we wanted to encourage student ownership for them to personalize it and reflect who they are, because every student's high school experience is different. So their portfolio will, it's going to ensure that we're not just collecting work, but we're curating a narrative of growth. It really allows each student's voice to shine, ensuring that by the time they graduate, they really have a digital representation of their journey. And the pieces that are within the portfolio here are just samples of what students can do. You can add graphics, you can add things that move. They're not required to have those things, but they are just there to show.
Could we just ask some questions while we're scrolling?
Yeah.
through? So something like responsibility, the student would pick something from their career at school that depicts responsibility? Is that how I'm seeing this?
Are you okay to answer that, or you want to? So we're going to work on developing a crosswalk for students where we can, they can see how the things that they do within their high school career and really embodies that character trait. So responsibility could look different for every student. For some students, it can be that they held a role in student government and how that helped them grow as a student, and they can put that there under responsibility. For another student, it could be that they did poorly on a specific subject or exam, but then they were responsible in scheduling time to meet with a teacher to grow and improve, and it showed that they were responsible in setting that up for themselves.
Okay, and when I see this in terms of time frame, it's portrait of a graduate over 4 years, right? So is this constantly they're constantly updating it or modifying it? But
Yes.
it's one slide, so how do you capture 4 years? No.
It's not one slide. So that's how it looks within Canva right now.
okay.
Essentially, it's actually a website.
Okay,
So this is the layout for a website, and the students can add as much or take away different slides. Each one is actually 2 different slides. So they can add if they're heavy in one, or take away if they're they don't have as much for another. The reason why we went with Canva is because we can prevent the students from publishing the website and be public-facing until they graduate, and then they can take ownership of it once they're 18 and no longer associated with the school.
got it. Okay, thank you for that.
You're welcome. So, yeah. Any other questions about the layout or
Looks
the
great.
template?
No, it doesn't.
Thank you.
There is so much flexibility here, and it is a 4-year journey. That's really important to kind of emphasize. And that was a great question about the crosswalk. Yeah, we're going to be providing that. We're also going to be providing training for the staff and the students as well as how to do this, but Mr. Piazzi is going to kind of talk about that a little bit more. What I'm going to just pick up on here for our next piece of this is are those 2 rubrics that we have as a committee put together. So the committee went back and forth a lot on these in order to be able to fine-tune them and to make them as functional for students as possible. Reminder that the formative evaluation rubric is an ongoing rubric. It will always be available to students for their ability to self-evaluate their progress with their portfolios. Working with their advisors, there will be required check-in points. We'll talk about that a little bit later on, but this template remains throughout. It's generic. It basically gives them a guide through the 10 different, what I would reference for lack of a better word, pages of their portfolio. That goes from an About Me page, as you saw before, to each of the 8 portrait of a graduate traits, to a final summary page that allows them a place to be able to put other information that may not fall into that, but that they want to be able to acknowledge about their progress over their 4-year journey. And each of those pages is what is going to be evaluated at the end of their journey for a proficiency bar, which I'm going to talk about with the second rubric, which is the summative one. So if you can look at this, you'll notice that for each of those, it's very general. It's really about how is your journey going, not about what specifically you're putting in there, because as Ms. Nitti represented before, each student's journey is unique. What's going to be in there is really dependent on the student. So it's not going to be that the portfolio is evaluated based on specific items that are in there, but more about, does the journey reflect students' depth of accomplishment of these traits? So proficient, for example, on all of these, and it'll be the same, is that the page includes a sufficient amount of information to meet the requirements for that component. Now, we are going to create that document that will give students how many are we talking about, what's the minimum number of different things that should be here to be able to give enough depth to represent that. And then how detailed and how informative those pieces are might be the difference between whether or not an item is proficient or advanced. And again, the students will self-evaluate on this and then share that self-evaluation with their home-based advisor. And then the home-based advisor would be able to give guidance to them as to what they might be able to do or point them in a direction. So that's what you notice. So the rubric here would be presented to the students in 9th grade. They will have this and the supporting material with it so that they are not trying to figure this out on their own, and they will have access to their home-based advisor for support. So again, that's the template for the formative. Then we have the same kind of structure for the summative, except that what they're being evaluated on here is a little bit more straightforward when they get to their senior year. This is basically, again, the purpose of this is to help students organize their journey, to have them be able to take something with them when they graduate that they can A, be proud of, and B, that they might be able to show to those, either an employer or a college, that can reflect, here's what I've accomplished and here's why I'm good for doing whatever it is that I'm looking to do next. So the proficient bar on this is all required elements associated with that category are present. They meet the proficiency standard. Again, that will be defined. This happens in students' senior year, so we do have a little bit of time to define exactly what that proficiency bar would look like. What is the minimum proficiency? Because that's all that we're looking for here. It is really about the journey, much more than the destination. And then there would be an exemplary column that would basically represent, because you're going to have students that are going to want to just basically do this because they're told to do it. And hopefully, in working with their advisor over the 4 years, they will get excited about it because, again, it's individualized. It's about what they are doing, what they want to be able to share. So the hope is that we will build that energy for it. And you're always going to have the students that basically get so excited by this that they're just going to take this and they're just going to go to the nth degree with it. And we want to recognize that as well. So that's the exemplary column.
Can I ask you a question about that? But going back to the formative evaluation template, so there's going to be kids that want to do the most they possibly can.
Right.
And right now, the advanced rubric says ample examples of something.
Mm-hmm.
I can envision a kid being like, I need to be at 200 examples on my page for that. Is that the guidance that their home-based?
So the advisors will basically be serving them, and again, that's going to be what Mr. Pugliese is going to kind of go into, is the process piece of this. What does that look like when their checkpoints are happening and as they go? Because it's not about, again, it's not about quantity. And that's going to be something that'll be emphasized along the way. So that's the summative. Again, that would happen when students get to their senior year. And again, to go into all of the stuff that I know that you're asking about with the process and procedures, I'm going to turn it over to Mr. Pugliese, who will walk us through all of that piece of the portfolios.
So yes, I kind of have the role of kind of wrapping everything up and encapsulating what Mr. Meintzer and Ms. Nitti have already talked about. We do want to really leave this as open-ended as possible. We know that for many students, if we provide them with an example, they're going to provide that example back to us. We want their creativity. We want to see what they believe were the highlights of their time here at Shoreham-Wading River. So we are going to have those structures available, but we're going to hold them back to begin with because we don't want to just give them exactly what they believe they want to return back to us. We don't want this to be just a mimicking exercise where they're just going to meet the requirements, but rather kind of explore, as Mr. Meintzer just said, enjoy the journey and not really be as concerned about the destination, because everything else is really driven by that grade. And this is not going to be graded. There is not going to be a grade on this. This is going to be whether you completed it effectively or not, and that's it. And along the way, we will make sure that each student is supported in the manner and the means necessary in order for them to be as successful as possible. So within the domains, there are several different areas that we can certainly focus on, or we can shift focus for students in order to look for where they've been successful. Up on the screen right now, obviously, talking about high school, there's going to be academic achievements. There will be capstone and graduation projects within different classes that they will be able to call upon. There will be certificates and awards that they earn along the way that could fall into any of those 8 different categories or multiple categories. For many of our students, it will be their creativity that's going to be on display, whether it be in the area of art or music, theatrical productions. We also want this to be a very personal journey, and this is really kind of at the heart of this is the idea of self-reflection. We know that one of the critical keys in life is to be truly self-reflective and to be able to analyze where your strengths and where your challenges are. So within this entire process, we want to emphasize that and make sure that the home-based teachers, their guidance counselors, administrators, and just teachers who they are close with are able to encourage them in that part of the process. Again, moving through personal development kind of, really hits on that area, the ability to self-reflect, service and extracurricular activities, and then finally, last but not least, those skills and competencies that could very well be a part of many of our students' programs.
Could you give some examples of like peer review feedback? Like what were you thinking with that?
Sure. For those areas, really, again, asking them to reflect upon. So, for example, I'm a student that came into high school thinking that I was not going to be successful in math. And lo and behold, I was not successful in math initially. But because I took the time, I took the energy, I went to extra help, I was able to then reflect that I took a potential challenge and I turned it into a strength, or at least into a neutral, where I was able to be successful. So that, again, is where our structure, our home-based structure, which allows for and provides for that touchstone teacher, that anchor teacher, to be with that student for their 4 years, to get to know them, to see them through that growth process, to be able to point to something like that and say, hey, listen, you know what? You started out, you walked in, all you did was talk about how much you hated math. And now by your sophomore year, your junior year, now look back at that. Where were you when you started? Where are you now? So there could be any number of examples where that reflective piece is possible, where they are going to look at themselves. Or, possibly I could also see this working not necessarily in required partnerships with peers within their home base, but certainly working together. Okay, where are you on this? Where did you find opportunities to show where you've had the strength in one of those character traits? So I think all of this is really going to kind of develop over time. I think we've laid a pretty good structure, but this is going to be very fluid over the next 3+ years. When we looked at this initially, we really wanted to make sure that this was not going to be seen as a burden on students or by their parents. So we really wanted to leverage a couple of pieces that are already very much a part of our program. Number one, we've already mentioned, is home base. The other piece, one of our required 9th grade electives, our digital literacy class. So leveraging those two pieces that are already existing within the student schedules, we wanted to take some of that load off and not have students believe that this is just going to be something more that's now on their plate that they need to do. So again, the use of home base throughout their 4 years. There will be structured days during the course of each semester of each year that extended home bases will be scheduled with the specific purpose of providing home-based teachers those additional hours or those additional minutes to be able to work with students, to be able to perform some of those initial assessments, to be able to look and see where they are, where their strengths are, where they need to be able to add some more information and materials, and again, to help along in that process. The digital literacy course, which I mentioned already, which is a part of most, if not all, of our incoming ninth grade student schedules, will be where the kind of nuts and bolts of learning Canva will take place. So our digital literacy teachers will take some time out of their existing curriculum to work within this media. Many of our students are already very comfortable with Canva or similar products, and they will be able to make that jump pretty quickly. The other big component here is making sure that our staff is trained. We'll be able to roll through this process. Each year, our home-based teachers move along with their grade level. So last year's, our senior home-based teachers are now our incoming ninth grade home-based teachers. So they will be the first group of teachers that are going to be initially trained in terms of what we're looking for, providing them with the kind of the structured materials that they can distribute out to students as it's needed. Again, the idea being we want this to be a personally reflective process and not just mimicking something that we provide to them. So the teachers will have those additional materials when needed for those students that are struggling, who do need some more concrete examples of what a particular trait looks like in terms of being able to complete that in terms of the document. But again, we really want this to be something that students can grow with and grow as they move through.
Lazy, that would be like a 4-year rollout that you're saying?
Well, yes, because for right now, this is going to be required within our ninth grade home bases. A little bit later on, we will talk about that it is available, the availability for our current 10th, 11th, and 12th grade students. If they wish to create their own portfolio, they certainly can, but they will not be required to do so. So it is just our incoming ninth graders right now that will be the first group within the process, and then each year thereafter, the first 2 years, it'll be our ninth and 10th graders, and then so on and so forth until we have everyone in the process. Also, we will begin at the middle school, specifically using some of the time within the library to begin those initial proficiencies in Canva and to begin, again, thinking about that process of what a portfolio will look like at the end of the day.
Mr. Blasey, at the end of the day, this digital student portfolios is a graduation requirement.
Yes.
So the class of 2030, the incoming freshmen, 29.
29.
Is where, my bad. I'm mentioning it. So that's what this is a part of, okay.
This is in preparation for that.
Understood.
But we
Okay.
also do, what's that? It'll be,
So for the first group going through, since they're going to basically be the guinea pigs for this process, they will go through the entire process, but it is not our intent yet to make that a graduation requirement for that first class.
Okay,
Let's see
that's
how that
helpful.
goes. I don't want any student to wind up in a spot
Right.
where, as we're learning what they need, we wind up with a student that didn't get there. And now we have an issue where a student isn't ready to, but they'll all be developing these, and we'll be supporting them the whole way. And the thought at this point is it would be starting with the second cohort, that we would then make this. And again, it's, as Mr. Pugliese pointed out before, it's not for a grade, it's not gonna go on a transcript. It is going to be something, though, that they have to present and get a proficient score on. They have to meet that proficiency bar on that rubric. And as long as they meet the proficiency standard for that, they met the standard, the portfolio is proficient, they are done.
Now, how does the district plan to use this information? Is it to identify academic concerns,
Nope,
suggest?
this is a student's self-reflective journey. This is something that is going to allow students to be able to encapsulate their high school journey and have something tangible to take with them from it. There are certainly, we did a little bit of homework, there are some colleges that already are looking at portfolios as one of the ways of demonstrating their readiness for college. It's part of the application process. It's not a requirement, although I do definitely see down the road it will be, because that's the direction that everything is going these days. But there are definitely some schools already that we've reached out to that have said, if a student presents a portfolio, we look at it. It is something we consider as, we'll look at what's in it. If it's something that reflects on that student in a positive way, it will speak toward their application.
Yeah, I mean, I think it could, I'm sorry,
I
I think it could evolve, because I think it's a miss if we're not potentially leveraging the data. I mean, you can, having a student required to do something like this, It can flag social and emotional issues. It can flag academic concerns. It can identify support areas that are they're based on how they're filling in or completing tasks assigned to them.
And the beauty of that, probably going to steal your
Go
words
ahead,
here, I'm
go
sure,
ahead.
is that because the student is going to be completing this journey under the supervision and with the support of their home-based advisor, exactly that will happen. So if they're sharing, because they will be, and the time frame of that's coming right up, so I'm going to leave that for you. But they will be sharing their portfolios along the way, and yeah, if there's something that is triggered in that as they're reviewing it, the advisor, that will lead to the advisor naturally saying, hey, let's have a conversation.
Well, that's where I was
Something in
going.
here.
Hopefully, that's what I'm saying. I guess like from the district perspective, that's what I'm saying from our side, using the data to be able to reinforce that and making sure that the home-based advisor is picking up on it. I mean, they're all professionals, so I'm sure they are. But I think how we're training them to leverage these tools just as much as we're training them.
Very much so. Very, very much so. And that, all of the data suggests that the highest risk for a student are those that don't feel like they have someone that cares about them, that they're connected to. So this idea, building that bond, starting in the 9th grade year with their home-based teacher, going through this process together, will ensure, to the best of our absolute ability, that every student feels like they have someone who cares about them, that is along with them for the process. They're their mentor, they're their guide. And, like you were just saying, this will very much so flag any of those concerns, or the positives as well. I mean, we could see, in students who are potentially underachieving academically, but showing such thought processes behind the scenes here that's untapped potential. So I think there's a lot that can come out of this that's going to be very, very positive.
I just want to add that I want to take it back to the eight traits, which took a year to develop through a community survey, through research. What is the business world, what is the job world looking for 10 years out from now? And those were the traits that were identified by the community after research, the curriculum council with students. And I think the hope is through this journey, which is wonderful, through the portfolio process, that they deeply understand how important those 8 traits are. They can reflect on what they're doing and how it aligns with it, and then understand what their strengths and weaknesses are in relation to those 8 traits. So I just wanted to bring it back to the core, which is students understanding, applying, being able to reflect on their growth on those 8 important traits for the world when they leave high school.
Well, that was going to be the question that I asked too around the training is there's like research-backed reasons why these traits are valuable for students when they're pursuing college and career. So as much as it needs to be a student-driven portfolio, I think there's value, and I'm assuming that this would be part of what home-based teachers are trained on in saying, if you're going to, do something about growth mindset, here's what growth mindset means in the world, and this is how you're going to develop. These are some ideas to develop that portfolio that are aligned with that, so that they're not going off on their own saying like, well, this is kind of growth mindset, I think I'm going to do that, and then they get to their senior year and it's like, oh, colleges and careers are actually looking for this like
more specific
equation of
Right.
growth mindset.
Right.
So that would be my thinking about professional development and training for teachers is how are we kind of getting them on board with what those commonplace definitions are.
Right. And we certainly feel like, again, the delivery of instruction, direct instruction during home base is not something that's specific that we can do. But we can certainly provide those frameworks. It'd be very easy for us, again, during those either extended home base periods or, at random times during the year, to be able to show a short video clip that's an excerpt from a TED Talk, something along those lines that specifically focuses in on, one or multiple of these traits that we're talking about, to give them some context in which this kind of develops, and then be able for them to see how they can connect to that, what they've already done that fits within those concepts. So I think there's a lot of opportunity here. I know that when, the home base kind of, that whole process was developed here, it was very different, 15, 20, 30 years ago than it is right now. And we want to kind of get back to what the root was, what the real reasons were behind developing that time within the school day. And again, that's why we wanted to leverage that time that's already within the schedule, that it isn't creating an additional burden for the students. We want to be able to tell parents and to be able to tell students that if they use their time during home base, this is not something that they need to work on outside of the school day if they choose not to. They will have more than enough time to be able to complete this portfolio in a proficient way in the time that we give them within their school day already. If they choose to use time outside of school, that's totally acceptable as well, and more power to them if they want to. But we are providing them all the time that they will be able, that they need in order to complete this during their 3+ year journey. Again, it's not going to go right to the end of their senior year, because there is going to be a presentation process that is going to begin earlier in their senior year, because it's just going to take us a while to be able to move through, the 160 or so plus graduates each year. We're not going to be able to do that just in May and June at the end of their senior year, so there are going to be scheduling pieces that are going to take place over time, again, where, students will have the option, if they're ready to present, by January or February of their senior year, and they want to get that done with, they will be able to do that. So again, it's not a full 4-year journey, it's a 3+ year journey, because by the end of their junior year, they should have the majority of this in place. And the start of their senior year, they're polishing. They're kind of cleaning up the areas where they want to put a little bit more effort into it, and then they're preparing for their final presentation. As we mentioned already, the presentation of the completed digital portfolio at some point during their senior year to a committee consisting of an administrator, the student's home-based advisor, and possibly a student-selected adult. Could possibly be a community member that will utilize, that committee will utilize the summative evaluation rubric to determine if the portfolio meets the established proficiency standard, falls below the standard, or exceeds the standard. As Mr. Meinster mentioned earlier, for those students that do exceed the established standards, we certainly want to be able to recognize that in some way in graduation, either with an additional seal on their diploma, some type of medallion. Again, we have some time to be able to determine what that looks like. Once again, it is incredibly important to remember this is not graded. It is assessed. We are making sure that it's proficient, but there is not a grade attached to it. Any additional questions?
I'm wondering, since the traits are so valuable, they've been identified on various committees, they've been identified through business experts in like success for like student success and also life readiness. If we as a board and as a district should shift the framework for even our evaluation of our different departments and our different student performance to almost categorize everything under these traits. So in other words, when it will not only potentially help to make this a natural assessment for students of when I'm engaging in this activity, it's an example of utilizing a growth mindset, to use Jim's example. It will give them that exercise naturally, but it will also help us as a community to support that that pursuit. So for example, when we're listening to a presentation, or when students are given an opportunity, even in a presentation that they'll do sometimes back to school, you'll provide them with best practices for cell phone use or social media, that we identify which traits that engaging in these experiences have the opportunity for them to grow in. So just to, as a community, to really own this, not to make it, just something for them to check a box on, which I know that that's not the intention, yeah. But as a community of support, to be able to really get behind this and to really shift our focus into providing education and teaching into these traits in everything that we do, whether it's an interdisciplinary curriculum, like, where there's a reflective piece that goes with social studies and English, just in everything that we do.
Within many of the subcommittee discussions, that became the topic of conversation. The belief that this will become part and parcel with all that we do, and that it will embed itself within all of our instruction, where these traits will become just second nature. The idea being, already just coming to mind, having banners made throughout the hallways where, again, the ideas are there. They're in their face all the time, being reinforced. There are many schools where it's just their motto that shows up, but I believe that we could do something like that as well, where it becomes part of the culture and becomes embedded. Much like we already said, we wanted to leverage those existing pieces that we already have within our schedule. The more this becomes part of our routine and our expectation, then it just naturally lends itself to be just, this is what the expectation is, and everyone will benefit from that.
Like Mr. Biasi was saying, we really want to make it so that the students are not focusing on checking a box, exactly what you said. This is really about their journey, and like was just said before, we're going to have exemplars that will be provided to the home-based advisors of what each of those different characteristics could look like, but we are not intentionally not giving those to the students. Because if you give them examples of what it might look like, a lot of students are just going to go right with the example, and they're just going to use that to check the box. But we're going to, at the same token, train the staff about those traits, give them those resources so that when a student does approach them and says, I don't know what this looks like, we can have that conversation and they can feel comfortable that they can pull that out of their box and take a look at those examples and cite an example or two for a student as needed to help guide them along that journey, because we do want to build that capacity where the students are looking at those traits as those are the end game. It's not about the content, it's about how this helps me be a better person and be able to use these skills wherever they may be needed, whether it's for a job, for college, or for just in life. So yeah, I agree with you entirely. That's going to be our focus, is helping students to be able to just live those traits. Keeping in mind that the students were directly involved in identifying those traits. So it was, and the committee felt very strongly, because we actually had a lot of debate with the rubric, whether to make the pages the content and then have the traits fit in, or have the pages be the traits and have the content fit in. And as you could tell, it was the overwhelming majority shifted toward, let's focus on the traits, because that's what we want the kids to be able to be thinking about. And then the content will fit the traits, because that's how we want them to start thinking. So hopefully that's where we'll wind up. Any other questions?
Sounds like,
Excited about
Thank
this
you.
and-
thank you very much.
Thank
and
you.
Looking forward to it. Okay, next up, I'd like to invite Mr. Ernesto Rossini, our Director of Facilities, to come on up to talk to us about our district-wide safety plan update. Thank you.
All right, thank you for the opportunity to give a very brief update to the safety plan. The last couple of years, we've done a lot of work to not only make the plan look visually appealing and easy to follow, but very comprehensive. Two requirements that we have to abide by this year. One, it goes into effect actually next year. We've been ahead of the game. So we had to add a small annex concerning our cardiac emergency response, also known as the DASHA law. The school district has been very proactive in having an abundance of defibrillators throughout the buildings, throughout the campus. So we just had to put onto paper all the protocols that we were already following and some of the documentation. As well as the second annex we had to add, we decided to add actually last year, will go into effect in the 2026-27 school year, concerns transportation and bus safety. So that is another comprehensive document that provides a very clear expectation of building leadership, of what needs to transpire between the building level, the district level, and its transportation coordinator. The comprehensive safety plan is extremely important. There's a lot of work that goes behind it. Not only, you know, it provides a very detailed document to provide a secure and supportive learning environment. And in the planning process, we will coordinate and have meetings with local law enforcement and fire departments for their feedbacks, and those relationships are very important, again, not only in this planning process, but when they respond to our times of need. That's all I really have to say about the safety plan. I would like to take the opportunity to introduce our new safety coordinator from Covert Security, and at the same time, thank Mr. McAckerman, who was our previous coordinator, for his time of service. So our new coordinator is Mr. Kurt Anderson.
Hi, how are you? My name's Kirk Anderson. I'm from Covert. I'm the security coordinator now for the district. Just wanted to say thank you for having me. I appreciate being part of the team. I retired from the NYPD after 25 years. I retired as a lieutenant. Spent most of that time in the emergency service unit. I've been a substitute teacher at the Levittown School District for the last few years. I just recently moved to Mount Sinai. I'm originally from Miller Place. Been in Levittown for the last 20-something years, but once I retired, moved back east, and I'm excited to be here. Glad to be part of the team. Working with Ernesto here has been great, and everyone else that's within the district, and I'm just looking to take some more of the security responsibilities off of Ernesto's desk and move forward with everybody else. Thanks.
Welcome. Thank you.
Welcome, thank you.
Mr. Rossini, real quick question on the defibrillators. So when the start of school happens and kids are out on fields, is it well known where they're located? Do coaches get involved? How do we know where they're located? Just curious, like at the high school or middle school?
So the AD devices are all mapped. All the staff will get a map where they all are. The coaches are briefed by the athletic director to those protocols, where those devices are located, as well as the students. So they're clearly marked. Whatever appropriate signage is required is there. There's also signage in the front of the building when you walk in here in front of the auditorium that gives you the 3 closest devices for the public would have to find in the event of emergency. And they're in the rear of the buildings, for example, at the elementary schools, they're very clearly marked where they are. And they're all strategic locations that are well established, well marked, and have been there for quite a while.
Okay, great. Thank you. I just wanted to ask. Any other? Okay. Thank you, Mr. Rossini. Appreciate that. Okay. And Mr. Anderson, we look forward to working with you this year. Next up will be our votes and resolutions. First, I have our approval of our June 24th, 2025 regular public meeting minutes. May I get a motion? Henry, second, Jamel. Any discussion or questions? All in favor? 7-0. Next up is our approval of our July 11th, 2025 reorganization meeting minutes. May I get a motion? Mike, second, Jim, Al. Any discussion or questions? All in favor? 7-0. Next up is the approval of our July 11th, 2025 regular public meeting minutes. May I get a motion? Jim Al, Jim S. Any discussion or questions on these? All in favor? 7-0.
I just need to abstain because I was not there.
Oh, okay, great. So let's do that again. So it'll be 6-0-1. Thank you, Katie. Katie abstained on that one, Georgia. Okay, next up is our approval of our July 24th, 2025 special public meeting minutes. May I get a motion, please? Megan, second, Jim L. Any discussions or questions? All in favor? 7-0.
Well, we have a variety of us. We're not there. How many?
Okay, what are you looking at?
2.
4.
So.
Oh, that's right, there were only 3. That's a good point. There were 4 of us there that night, right?
Yep, it was you, James Smith, Mike Lewis, Megan Teffenhart.
So it was Mr. Lewis, Mr. Smith, Ms. Teppenhart, and who was the 4th?
You.
Oh, me. Always forget this stuff. All right, so let's do that vote again then. So for the July 24th, 2025 special public meeting minutes, I had my motions, so may I ask the 4 who here to raise their hand? All right, so it's 4-0-3. Thank you. Thanks, Katie. Approval of our June 2025 Treasurer's Report. May I get a motion, please? Katie, second, Jim S. Any discussion or questions? All in favor? 7-0. Approval of our July 2025 Treasurers Report. May I get a motion, please? Megan, second Katie. Any discussion or questions? All in favor? 7-0. Approval of our CPSE, CSE, and 504 meeting summary. Memo dated August 22nd, 2025. May I get a motion? Henry, second Megan. Discussion or questions? All in favor? 7-0. Okay, next up will be our resolutions. First are the Board of Education. I have 6 of these. Is it okay if I take them as a block? Yes. They go from 2526012 through 2526017. Can I get a motion? Jim S., Jim L. Any discussion or questions on these? All in favor? 7-0. I think I just wanted to call out approval of our fall community programs. Just as a thought, Mr. Poole, these are now posted and out there already, right, for the community?
Well, we'll go full out with advertising once they're approved by
Resolution.
once the
Okay,
board
great.
approves them, then we'll, yes,
That's what I
absolutely.
thought.
Yep,
Okay,
those-
great.
We'll get those out there.
Just a quick question on that.
Yeah, please.
Sorry.
Yeah, no
As far
problem.
as some of the reorganization due to the gymnasium being out, I know there were some adult programs at the middle school. Do you feel those
We
will
took,
be
we
affected? Oh, you did?
reviewed that before
Okay.
putting in. We think it's gonna be okay.
Okay.
If there is a conflict down the road, we'll just advise everybody that for that one
Okay.
night, but we think it's gonna be okay.
Very good. Thank you, Mr. Poole. And we did the shared committee. That's great. Okay, very good. Okay, next up are curriculum and instruction resolutions. There are 8 of these. Okay to take as a block? Okay, great. 2526018 through 2526025. May I get a motion, please? Henry, second Jim S. Any discussion or questions on these? All in favor? 7-0. Next up are our human resource resolutions. There are 3 of these. Are they okay to take as a block? Okay. They're 2526026 through 2526028. May I get a motion, please? Jim S. and Katie. Discussion or questions? All in favor? 7-0. Next up, I've got business and operations resolutions. I have 4 of these. Okay to take these as a block? Okay. 2526029 through 25, excuse me. Is that a typo? It might be. Second, yeah, 2526032. Okay, may I get a motion, please? Katie, second Jim S. Any discussion or questions? All in favor? 7-0. Next up are our personnel. May I get a motion on our personnel tonight? Jim S., Katie? Any discussion or questions on these? All in favor? 7-0. Ms. Kirschus, do we have any communications tonight?
Oh, sorry.
Thanks.
Oh, start with, no, never mind. It's me, never mind.
Okay, it's okay.
You're on track.
Yeah, I'm ready. And next up will be our discussion. We did want to have a discussion. There had been some interest, I believe, raised from some students about the potential of adding a flag football team for our girls. Wanted to open up to the board. I know Mr. Poole has provided the board some information related to some questions that were raised about whether we could field a team, what the cost would be, what are some of the, pros and cons of doing this. I don't know if we want to open up and give Mr. Poole and the administration direction if we're interested, because I believe there's a deadline that's coming up right now with Section 11.
Yes, I have to let Section 11 know yesterday.
Yesterday?
In order to get them on the schedule, but they will. They have a internal deadline. I can get a Shoreham-Wading River team into the spring schedule. I think originally I was thinking, we can just kind of make a decision in the fall and let them know. But the schedule is already being set for Section 11. So as I shared, we did have some students approach us last year with interest in girls flag football.
Sure.
Probably half of the districts in Suffolk County by now do have a girls flag football team. There was, on the survey, there was 17 students that were girls that were definitely interested. 8 possible. One of the questions we asked was, is it going to impact another sport in the school district? Because we do have lower enrollment, and we know even this year that we have some lighter JV teams in the school district. So of the 25 that were definite or possible. 10 don't play a sport right now, which would be great for them to be involved in a sport.
Okay, interesting.
9 students would come from track, 2 from golf, 1 from softball. So it really just, it was an array of
Compilation,
sports,
yep.
non-impactful, at least as indicated by students for year 1, right? You don't know if flag football becomes super popular, would that pull in the future? But we don't know that. That's just a hypothetical. And most of the students that were interested came from a grade 9.
I was just gonna ask
And
that.
then there were 11 students, and there were 4 or 5, 6 students in each of the following grades. So 4 in grade 10, 4 in 11, 6 in grade 12. It would be a team, a varsity. It would be a varsity
That's what
team.
I was
I'm
gonna
sure
ask.
these
Okay,
17
so it's one,
students,
yep.
when I believe, I'm not an expert in girls flag football,
Yep.
but I do believe they field a team of 7. I have Miss Ferrer here.
Yeah, we got a subject matter expert
So
on the
they
pool.
field a team of.
So 7 are on the field.
7 are on the field
Okay.
at the same time. So if they did have, 20 to 25 students, that's a rich group for practice, 7-on-7 drills and things like that. The cost, and this is an unbudgeted cost. We did not put it in the budget. Not saying we can't find from different codes and find a way to fund it. The cost is, I would say, approximately, don't quote me on this, but approximately $40,000. You got some supplies, some uniforms, you have transportation costs, you have Section 11 fees, you have referees. So that's kind of, do you need 1 coach or 2 coach with benefits? A coach with benefits is probably somewhere in the neighborhood of, with payroll, soft costs is probably $10,000. So if you have 2 coaches, that's probably $20,000. I don't know if you need 2 coaches for it. Initial uniforms and supplies, maybe $5,000. Transportation, maybe up to $10,000. I'm not sure what the schedule is. And then Section 11 certainly is always $3,000 to $5,000. So maybe 40,000 is on the high end. But so if I want to give you a range, as I get to nitty gritty, let's say $25,000 to $40,000 to field a team.
Mr. Poole, you said 9 from track and field? What
It's in
kind of numbers do we have in track?
discussion.
I didn't have that discussion.
No.
What kind of numbers do we have in
Yeah,
track
it's
and
in
field now that 9?
The cost right now?
With 9 students.
9
Been
would be-
9 in the spring. I just don't have that for you. I know there's a lot of students that go out for track in the spring, so I'm not sure what
I feel like that might be significant.
for the.
Ms.
Yeah.
Ferrer, come on
Yeah,
up.
we're
Yeah,
gonna call
wanna-
you up. So
Come on up to the microphone.
Polls anywhere between 25 to 45 kids on their girls' team for track and field. Depends on the year. It's a big variety.
I think it was smaller this year.
But, it's about anywhere, any given year between 25 and 40.
Can you come up? I have a few more questions. You want to?
Mr. Poole, to that end, my
Bring you up here?
concern would just be that it is dipping heavily into track. Maybe we could look at those numbers a little bit closer.
Yeah, I think that is the overarching concern. It's probably not the scheduling it or manning it or paying for it. It's really impacting the current athletic program.
And maybe adding a program and paying for it over time is the other.
Sure, adding the cost as a new recurring cost, of course.
What has been your experience in your past district, as well as serving some positions in Section 11, as far as implementing the sport, some of the negatives? Obviously, there's a great positive, but.
Whenever you're,
Yeah.
we're creating opportunities for kids, which is the biggest positive. There are, no matter what school you're in, it's going to take from another program. I can personally say at Hills, it did take a couple of kids from each program. Did it impact the programs negatively? It did not. It impacted the athletic program positively, where that school specifically, we had a couple of kids in each program, but yet it developed into a phenomenal flag football program. And again, there was a youth program over there. There's a youth football, flag football girls program in that Huntington area where a lot of the girls were already participating. So that did lead to the district embracing that. Around here, I'm not sure there's many flag football girls embracing at the youth level. That might be something the out there community might want to entertain, but that's our responsibility is within the district.
One of my fears is not so much track, but softball. I know we have very low numbers
We do.
in middle school. I don't think we have a JV team.
We do not.
So, my concern is, that sport, feeling the biggest loss.
Softball overall in Suffolk County, I will say specifically, is declining their enrollment in the sport. Participation numbers are very much down. across the county. So could that impact it? Sure.
Mr. Lewis, I agree with you. I think I just am recalling that the numbers for girls' track were not as high as the high end historically, and you could be looking as high as 50% of participation if you're looking at 9. So just a thought.
I know we don't have this up on the board, but just for the community, we're looking at a screen where the polls say that flag football interests are 17 are definitely interested, 8 possibly, and then of the sports played, 10 of those interested do not play a sport, 9 are in track, 3 in unified basketball, 2 in golf, 1 in softball, 1 in lacrosse. In grade 9, 11 is the possible or definite number, 10, 4 students, 11, 4 students, and 12, 6 students. What struck me about that was, I mean, the number that I was most excited about capturing is just the 10 that don't currently play a sport. Sure. The fact that this would offer an opportunity for those particular students is exciting, but it does pose the question of, as it gains traction and as it becomes a part of our program, what will the numbers look like in the future? You know,
And when you think about kind of the philosophy of the budget that was put up in May, we were about maintaining programs for a specific reason. So anytime you're adding programming, it just creates a tighter budget.
right.
I wish we had the opportunity to have the students here. I always enjoy students coming and
Yeah.
being proactive and presenting their case for additional programs. It would have been nice to have them here, just because to understand their perspective and why they want it.
So let me just kind of straw poll the board for direction for Jerry. Are we thinking that we should support this move for students this year?
But I
What
just
were
have
your all-
concerns about, when we talk about field space all the time,
Thank you.
I'm concerned about field space
yeah, thank you, Ms.
and the
Farrar.
cost.
Thank you, Ms. Farrar.
$40,000 for a flag football team.
I'm sorry, Jim. it
I
was-
just have concerns about the cost, the overall cost.
Yeah, $40,000 for.
You know,
something
and
like
the
Jerry said.
field
Could be
space.
up to
I mean, we talk about field space all the time, you know, right now.
Fall
And then the
sports.
spring's lighter, but
And they can play on grass.
you also have JV. I mean, I think all those sports that are not varsity tend to practice on the grass as well. I mean, I guess there's enough field space.
If I made a field space, there's plenty of grass field to practice on, they would be playing their games on the turf.
Okay, good to know.
Do you know what their potential schedule and who their opponents would be? Do a lot of the surrounding districts have?
So, yeah, the school is correct, there's a lot of,
Okay.
there's probably, last year there was probably about 36 varsity programs. There were only about less than 10 JV programs, which is why I kind of want to start on the varsity level. You'll definitely have better competition in regards to, there are 2 divisions, so we'd be on the lower end of the divisions. So they're based upon enrollment. So it's very similar
School
to,
size.
what's that?
School size, I'm sorry.
School size,
Okay.
yes.
So 2.
Yes. Mhm.
Okay.
2 divisions,
Gotcha.
and we'd be on the smaller one.
I was curious about that in terms of, so we've polled students, but I don't know what their capabilities are. So like being able to determine whether or not we're saying we'd start at a varsity level, but is our interest at a varsity level? You know, like I guess we don't know that answer
We don't
yet.
know their skill level, and,
Yeah.
you know, based upon, I think 9 of them are freshmen.
Most are freshmen. There's 10 students from grade 11 and 12, and 15 from grade 9 and 10.
So,
Yeah.
are they, no, I mean, if you go typically 11th and 12th is your varsity, 9th and 10th is your JV. There are
Right.
those special athletes who,
Use that.
Right.
you know, are moved up. Flag football also is, in seeing it over the last 3 years develop, they're not 12th and 11th grade looking kids out there. There are, a lot of them
Okay.
are young.
Okay.
A lot of them are still developing. They're getting bigger and better as they, we're going into our 4th year now. But when we did start, it was very interesting to watch flag football. Now it's fun to watch. So
I think
I'm
it's
just
so
curious,
cool.
what is
I
the
think
equipment?
it's flags.
Flags.
That's it. There's
A
no-
football.
Around your waist.
Yep, that's it. Yeah, it's
It's
very,
basically-
it's not an expensive sport to continue to run, but implementing it is, there's some expense. Yeah.
Maybe coaches don't.
I think from my standpoint, I'm not opposed to trying it. I wish we had a crystal ball to say what happens this next spring with our other sports and the future of potentially softball or another women's sport that gets impacted as a result. I don't know what the fallout will be by doing that, by driving another sport into the teams. And then there is the expense side of it. It sounds like there is an upfront cost. We're obviously concerned this year about where we're going to be at the end of this year and state funding. It's always that same challenge that we're in. So I'd be okay with supporting it for this year and seeing what the results would be. Don't know about the ongoing, but I know once you start something, you don't want to pull it back. So that's the other side of the coin. I don't know if anyone else has the same.
I'd just add that I'm pretty compelled by the fact that this was a student-driven request, and I'm less concerned about it detracting from other sports, particularly in the spring. I think there's quite a few students that want to be active in the spring, and so because one of the sports that they might be detracting from isn't their main sport, they're doing it to stay active. And if we're getting an appeal to add flag football, any sport, from students because it's something that they want to do, I feel pretty good about the fact that we would provide that opportunity. I mean, if it took away from another sport, does that mean that we should then be investing more deeply in flag football?
That's how I thought about it.
Because students are expressing interest in that sport compared to a different one.
Yeah, I think that's thoughtful. I guess, Mr. Poole, my question is, at what point do we see a lack of interest in other sports that we no longer run them? I mean, if, you can field a team in softball, that's great, but what if we start to dip below that, and do we just then run it as?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, that's a really good question. I know every couple of years we take a deeper dive into enrollment in athletics, and we make a year-by-year decision. But even this year, JV girls soccer is light in the fall. JV boys football is light this fall. Last spring, we know that the softball team is always just able to field a team. We haven't had JV softball for a while. I do know that even wrestling numbers are a little bit lighter than they've been, in past years. So we are starting to feel the impact of cohorts of 130 to 140 students. I'm happy to share kindergarten cohort. I'm happy and not happy to share. The kindergarten cohort was up to 151, which is a big number for us as of late for a grade. Yeah, it's almost a year-by-year decision to see which one's going to run and collapse. I know some years, even if they don't have enough students, we keep the coach, they get developmental training, sometimes they join varsity, so it's
There might just be a tipping point to Mr. Lockhart's point that we no longer have enough interest in a particular sport and it just tips over to.
Yes.
So what portion of the 40 grand is the startup cost and what is recurring?
Well, so, you need two coaches, so two coaches plus payroll costs, or I'm gonna use a number of $10,000 with the payroll cost on top of the salary. And then, that's $20,000. I have a number for supplies, for flags and footballs and uniforms. Maybe that's $5,000. Maybe that's high by a couple $1,000s. I don't know. Transportation could be up to $10,000 depending on how much they move around. And then Section 11. I'm not sure, Ms. Ferry. What would a typical section?
Fees, I think for varsity is $375 for a team.
Yeah.
Now it's less than 500. And then you're paying the officials fees around per game, 3 officials. About $450 per game for officials. About.
How many games do they play?
So they play, they're scheduled for 12 games.
12 games.
Wow,
For
big
league
season.
schedule.
6 home.
So 6 home, 6 away.
Wow.
Okay.
When we're home, we pay for the officials fees. When we're away, we do not. But when we're away, we pay for the transportation. So
Yeah.
it's
It's
not
a
like
give or
let's
take.
keep
Yeah.
everything home
Right,
and
right.
be good. So
We would.
yeah.
So they're vying for field space with JV, varsity, boys, girls, lacrosse, and track.
Varsity girls and boys lacrosse
And a track
like
meets.
will be there. And then track is also at the same facility. So when we have a track meet, we cannot have a game.
Sure.
So it's
So that's then.
it's busy.
You learn to juggle.
I do as well.
Do you, all right, in your past experience, do they have games at night, or do they do like a Friday night thing? Like, what's the environment for the
Typically
games?
not,
No,
but
okay.
you're looking at somebody who came with somebody with no lights, so we didn't play at night. Do
Oh,
other
wow.
schools? Sure they do.
Okay.
So it's definitely an option
wow.
to, have a lacrosse game in the afternoon and a flag football game at night, or vice versa. It'd be difficult to have a flag football lacrosse game after a track meet. They tend to run a little bit longer, but you can definitely do some back-to-back games. We do it in the fall as well.
Maybe the meet will go quicker if there's 10 kids.
Point taken.
I'm glad you're here tonight, just so you know. This is really helpful.
Broke it in.
It's really good. This is good. This is, yeah, no.
Right.
Yeah, no, it's- I like it. It's like, going on.
I'm okay with it.
So I think
I'm good.
I'm supportive, Jim is supportive.
Yeah,
How's the
like
rest of
Jim
the-
said, I love that the students drove this. There's plenty that we do that I think is great for students, but not always necessarily what they want. Like, would they ask for it? I think that we can take the rest of, from a budgetary standpoint, take the rest of this year and see, like, do we have really light attendance on certain clubs? Can we save on certain stipends? Like, there's ways for us to be creative with that when students come to us and say, we really,
would
really
like
want
to.
I think that's a
17 of
great
them.
point. I do
17
think
of
that we
them.
have to be very cautious about moving forward with, the enrollment that we have, some of the tight budgetary constraints that we're gonna see coming up. And I think at some point when we're dipping below fielding a team, we're gonna have to really
Yeah.
look at those difficult decisions. I like the idea that there's that much interest on year one. I'd like to see if it actually comes to fruition. Is there any way to get a confirmation from those kids that they actually truly are interested before we pull the cord?
You won't know till
Not sure
spring.
typically, so it's a spring
Spring
sport,
sport,
so it
we
would
won't
be
know till-
enrollment a little bit later in the school year. But if we didn't have enough interest to field a team, whatever that number might be, to do it safely, then we would let Section 11 know in advance, and it just
And
wouldn't
then we
happen.
just wouldn't run it?
It just
Okay.
wouldn't run it.
All
It
right.
wouldn't happen. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so if there's not enough interest, we don't have enough athletes, we would submit a drop form. We get charged for the fee,
Yep.
$350 for the varsity fee, because that's what they get paid to create a schedule and the officials, but that would be the
That'd be
only
it.
expense.
Okay.
That in addition to purchasing of the equipment that we have.
Right. It's uniforms as well, right?
And uniforms, so,
Yeah.
you were right on spot with $5,000 for the equipment and uniforms.
Uniforms, right about that. So.
So so I think I've got
I think
general
you have-
consensus, we're all
and you,
on board?
Yeah. you're
Okay,
close.
so Mr. Poole?
Well, there's gonna be some
Yesterday's
there's
happened.
gonna be some very happy young ladies when they hear the news, and we'll update you on how we
think that's
progress.
great.
And
I think it's great to
Great.
report back to them,
Can't wait
to
to see
Jim's
the game.
point. What's that, Madam?
Can't wait to see it.
Yeah, no, that's great, thanks.
Great. All
Okay,
right,
so,
good.
all right, where am I? I'm gonna go back to my meeting minutes here, where am I? So, we did the discussion part, right?
I think we're done.
Oh, yeah, Ms. Kirsch, is there any comments or from residents? Okay, thank you. Any other comments from the board? Any other thoughts, questions? Okay, very good. Well, again, looking forward to this new school year, Jerry, right?
I'm excited for the start of the school year. Great to have our students back. Just a big empty building without students in it, right? Yeah, right.
Right.
It's not a school.
No kidding.
Yep.
Looking forward to a happy, healthy school year for everyone out there. May I get a motion to adjourn tonight's meeting? Jim, second Katie. Any discussion or questions? All in favor? 7-0. Good night, everyone.